What is going on, everybody? It is me again. It is HorrorFan34, and welcome to another video, and welcome to day 13 of the 31 Days of Horror Challenge in October. Now that we are on day 13, I figured I'd talk about this next. I reviewed this film before solely, back when it first came out, I think about a year ago, which is surprisingly enough, it's been a year since this film came out. I reviewed this film, like I said before, solely, but I figured, you know what, I'll re-review it again for Halloween season because I think it makes a lot of sense for me to talk about this film when it comes to horror movies, because I think this is an underrated gem. It was one of my favorite films of 2021 last year. I think it was at my number 3 spot. And I know my buddies Alex and Rob really loved this film as well. I know Alex was really surprised with this film. And if you can tell by the title of the video, that review is going to be on Malignant. Yes, Malignant. Directed by James Wan. Now, I know, from my understanding, I think James Wan turned down The Conjuring 3 to do this film. And I'm glad that he did, because this is one of my favorites of his. I almost want to say it probably might be my favorite James Wan film. Although I love the first Conjuring very much as well. So it's kind of like this and this film between is like my favorite for James Wan. Now, James Wan as a director, I've always really enjoyed him as a director. The first Saw is really good. Death Sentence with Kevin Bacon's great. The Conjuring 1 and 2 is great. Insidious is great. Furious 7 was very solid as well. And this film is very solid too. Dead Silence I don't remember too much about. I need to rewatch it again. But it's really hard for me to talk about the plot without spoiling anything. But I'm going to keep it as... Because I did a spoiler-free review when I reviewed it solely. But the basic idea is that you have... what's her name? I want to get her name right. Annabelle Wallis, who is in Annabelle. The crappy Annabelle first one. She's a woman who's had a lot of miscarriages and things like that. There's more to it, though, than that. And there's a killer going around killing people named Gabriel. And basically, whenever Gabriel kills someone, she's able to see it, too, like, with her very eyes. Like no matter if she's not near the murder or anything like that, she still sees it in her eyes. Like, in her mind, she sees it. And there's, like, a whole explanation on that. And like I said, like, I'm not going to spoil it a whole lot, because that's going to... So I'm being as careful as I can talking about this film. Now, what this really is James Wan's version of a slasher movie. And I think that's cool, because... My dog is up against my door, and it's really annoying. But what I think... Like I said, it's James Wan's version of a slasher movie. And I think that's cool, because this can be kind of very misleading if you see, like, ads for this film, like, you know, trailers. Because they make it marketed as, like, a full-on supernatural ghost story. And there are elements of that in this film, but it's not completely that. It's more of a slasher movie. And I think Gabriel is one of the most unique, like, killers in a horror film in quite a while. Probably the most original I've seen probably since Robert, the killer tire in Rubber. If anybody remembers Robert the Tire. Very unique killer for that. And same thing with this, with Gabriel. And the whole finale that takes place at the police station, it's very reminiscent of Maniac Cop 2. I've never seen a cop station scene done so well done before, and as much action-packed as Maniac Cop 2. And this even has vibes of, like, the Terminator in a way with the cop station scene, if you get what I'm talking about. Like, who would have thought a film like Malignant would be compared to the Terminator, of all things? I even said that, too, when we were talking about the best and worst of 2021 on the Movie Busters a while back. And I'm really glad that James Wan... This was a passion project for James Wan. I know it didn't do well when it came out. It flopped. But I don't understand why it flopped. I mean, granted, there wasn't a whole lot of marketing for it, which is a shame, because, like I said, if you've seen this film, if you've seen, like, the trailers, it's very misleading, because it's not a supernatural ghost story full on. It's elements of it, but mainly it's a slasher film, and it's very R-rated, it's gory, Like I said, Gabriel was vicious, and I really like the supporting cast as well. You have Zoe Bell from Death Proof and Grindhouse in a small role. You also have what's her name? I can't think of her name, but the oldest daughter from Uncle Buck, she has a role in this as well. And I thought Annabelle Wallace does a great job as the lead female, as Madison. Does a great job. There she is, actually, right there. And like I said, like I said, I don't want to spoil it a whole lot because it's very hard for me to talk about this a lot without going into spoiler territory. But all I can say is, if you like James Wan and you like slashers and you want to see his take on a slasher, you are definitely in for a treat for this, because it's like bits and pieces of supernatural, but mixed in mainly with a slasher. It's so cool and so original. Probably the most original slasher film I've seen, probably since Hollow Man, probably, because if you think about Hollow Man was original because that was a slasher film dealing with an invisible man, which was never really done before up until the crappy sequel they did. And I like those original slashers, like April Fool's Day, the original, and things like that. Like, I really like the way that they do like slasher films, and I think this is a very unique slasher mixed with supernatural stuff. And Gabriel, I honestly think this was a better horror film than Halloween Kills. I mean, that's my opinion from 2021. I thought this was miles better than Halloween Kills, but that's just me. But overall, Malignant is a very solid flick. If you like I said, James Wan, you like slashers, and you like gore, I highly recommend that you give this a look. Malignant is so well done. So that's pretty much it for my review for Malignant. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.